Have you, either one of you, hosted a Zoom meeting yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. And Autumn saying no. Okay, so it looks
Yes,
like
I have one coming up next week, so I need all the help I can get.
Yeah,
I have
all right.
And I have some very specific questions when you finish.
Okay.
Good.
Hello, everybody. This is Michael. I am Vicki's TA, her assistant. Y'all can put any questions in the chat, and I will be sure to let Vicki know. And Vicki, for now, I have pushed the stream live, and I am going to make you host. Just make me co-host back again, and then you can continue your class.
All right.
Hello,
Let's have
Michael.
these little
Hey.
administrative. Okay, Michelle is joining. Michael, let me, whoops, let's go back. It's so, all right, we've made you co-host, my co-captain. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And Joanne, let me ask you, since you've just joined us, and hello, Joanne and Carol, have you hosted a Zoom meeting yet?
Yes, I have.
You have, okay.
But I'm feeling rocky about it.
Got it, yeah. Usually that's what happens when folks are joining class. They're like, I have, but I didn't know what I was doing. So
I don't believe
That sums it up.
Okay. It's okay to admit that. Yeah, I have, but I don't know what I did.
yeah, and that's why we're here. So let's go ahead and get started. We may have other folks joining us, which is always just, you know, so much fun. I love it. The more the merrier. I'm going to share my screen. And let's do it this way. And for some of you, it may eclipse some of your control. So I apologize. And today, as always, I have two monitors going. So some information I have on one monitor, some on another. And so if I keep moving back and forth, you'll know why. All right. Well, first of all, welcome everyone. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I'm Vicki, your GetSetUp guide. I am calling in from San Jose, California. And just a little bit about me from those of you who may not have taken a class with me. I worked in the world of high tech for 30 years, doing a number of different things, technical support, lots of technical training, instructional design. I've taught students from around the world. I've taught folks who are very technical, but I've also taught folks who are just starting to dip their toes, as I like to say, into this world of technology. And for me, being a guide with GetSetUp lets me do what I love the most, and that is educating folks about technology. So a little bit about me. Today, you know, GetSetUp is a training organization, and ideally we love it when folks have their cameras turned on. It's just more fun that way. We can see each other, more interactive, but I understand sometimes cameras aren't working. People are eating lunch or dinner. So I let you decide what you'd like to do. Today's class is being recorded. And if you would like a copy of the recording, you can email us at help@getsetup.io. And for those of you joining via live stream, welcome, hello. You can see and hear everything we're doing in class today, but I always recommend that folks register for class, and that way you can fully participate with us. And lastly, you know, we here at GetSetUp, we're not being paid to promote any specific products or services. I'm not being paid to promote Zoom. It's all about the training for us. And GetSetUp offers classes, interest groups, social hours, 7 days a week. We have something going on every day. We also are now offering classes and our social hours in the US, India, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore is going to be coming online very soon. So we have 24/7 coverage, really exciting. And for those of you who've attended my other classes, I always joke, if you're an insomniac and you're up at 2 in the morning walking around the house, log on to GetSetUp. There'll be something for you to take to watch. For those folks who've been taking classes with us, attending social hours, and you're feeling more comfortable, if you are interested in hosting an interest group or a social hour, please let us know. We love to bring our member community into the fray. And we love it when our members kind of step up and start hosting interest groups or social hours. So you can email us at help@getsetup.io, and we'll route your email to the appropriate folks. And you may have noticed over the past month or so, we have changed our website. We've added a lot of great features. We've also made it very easy to invite other friends and family to join classes. And so if you've really been enjoying the classes, the interest groups, the social hours, spread the word, let other folks know. And we've made it easy. You can see here, you can just click on, tell friends about this class when you're registering for a class, share classes on social media. So just share the love, as I like to say. Now for today, feel free, this is an interactive class. I'm going to be demonstrating everything, but please stop me if you have any questions, if you need me to say something again or show you something again. You can unmute yourself, ask away. We also have the chat window that we're going to be monitoring. So please just ask your questions. What are we going to be covering today? Well, we're going to really talk about how do you schedule, how do you host a meeting? How do you start a Zoom meeting? How do you schedule one maybe in the future? How do you schedule a meeting and put it on a calendar and invite others to your Zoom meeting? So we're going to cover all of that today. And I have a feeling, I have a good idea about folks who have hosted a meeting, maybe still are a little rocky. Many of you are trying to figure out, well, how do I host my first meeting? We're going to cover that as well. And we need to start by talking about what are the requirements for hosting a meeting. So if you've been a participant, if you've been clicking on a link that someone has sent you, whether it's from GetSetUp, other friends, family, colleagues have been sending you links, you're not required to have a Zoom account if you are a participant. However, if you want to host a Zoom meeting, then you're going to need to get a Zoom account. Now, you can sign up for a free Zoom account. We're going to take a look at that in just a moment, or there are paid accounts. It depends on what you need to get done in your Zoom meeting. So I'm going to go to my zoom.us. I'm going to open up a browser. I have another browser here. We're going to go to zoom.us, and I'm going to show you how you can get to the plans and pricing page. Let me just resize. There we go. Here is, I'm on my zoom.us page. And if I go to plans and pricing, what you'll see is here's a listing of all of the different plans that they have. Now, here's that free plan that I was talking about. I know the button says buy now. I wish they didn't do that because it's free. You're not buying anything, you're just signing up. With a free account, you can host up to 100 participants. I know that sounds like a lot, and it is. Also, if you are hosting a meeting that has one other participant, you have an unlimited time for that meeting. But with a free account, if you are inviting 2 or more participants, so that means if you have 3 people on a call, including yourself, then with a free account, you have up to 40 minutes on a call. There's a limit there. So a 40-minute duration, and then after 40 minutes, your Zoom meeting will end. And so that's what you get with a free Zoom account. There are other Zoom accounts. I'll let you take a look at those on your own. But just know with a paid account, with this paid account that you see here, these different ones, you can have up to, in this example, 30 hours for a Zoom meeting. So you're no longer limited to that 40-minute duration. And so again, it depends on what you're going to be doing with your Zoom meetings. Do they have to be longer than 40 minutes? If that's the case, then you're going to need to take a look at one of these paid accounts. And so let me know if anybody has any questions about the paid accounts at all versus free accounts. And I would always suggest, if you're just getting started, go ahead and sign up for a free account. And then you can always upgrade. They make it very easy to upgrade to one of these paid accounts. Peach, did you have a question? You have to,
Yes.
oh, there you go.
Yeah, yes, did you say that if it's more than 3 people, what about if it's 10 people? Is it still 40 minutes?
Yes, it is with a free account.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. And I want
We also
to
got a
make sure.
question in chat. In
Oh,
free
yes.
account, how to copy
Yeah.
list of participants and how to mute all and not me when co-host is using controls.
So great question, Gillian. So how to copy a list of participants. So there are, and it depends what you need the list of participants for, but if you are a co-host or a host, you could do a mute all. If you're a participant, you don't have access to those controls. And I'm going to, after class, at the end of class, actually, I'm going to show you the other Zoom classes that we offer. And we do have a class where you can practice being a host, sharing screens, using different controls. And I would suggest taking that class. I think you'll get a lot out of it. So I'll come back to the copy about the copying the list of participants. Joel, did you have a question?
So any problem with people in other countries if I wanted to have a class with people from England and Germany or other places?
Nope, we have people from all over the world attending our Zoom classes. Absolutely not a problem. You just, it depends also. Some people don't have as great connectivity as others. So you just have to be aware of that. That's all. But yeah, absolutely not a problem. All right. Oh yeah, Joanne, question.
Yes, this might be too complicated, but if I have a laptop from my company and they have a Zoom offering, whatever, probably more than free.
Yeah.
And I also have my Apple here at home. That's my personal Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to upgrade mine at home, or do you know what I mean? Does it stick to the equipment or can you move it to a different?
It's based on the account. However, so
Okay.
I happen to have 2 accounts. One's free because I'm too cheap. And then my other account is a licensed account. It's through GetSetUp. And so when I'm doing classes, I use my work Zoom account. I log in with a different email address. When I'm just hosting a meeting with friends and it's on my laptop or my iPad, I'll log in using my free account because I don't want to abuse. I don't want to mix and match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Now today, I am working on my laptop. Do I need a bigger monitor to see all participants when the group average is 15 to 25? We're going to talk, we talk a little bit about that in the beginner Zoom, and I will tell you, Gillian, that if you're on a laptop, you can see up to 49 participants on a screen, and I'm just on my regular laptop screen. If you're on an iPad, so I have an iPad, I think it's up to 16 participants. And then if you're on a phone, you can only see 4 participants. So
I'm on my laptop and I don't really, I'm only seeing about 15 people.
You're only seeing 15 people?
Or not even, maybe 10.
And you're in gallery view?
And I have
Okay.
about 25. So, and that means I can't really interact. I ask questions and I can't see people.
Okay. And
Unless I click on another, an arrow.
Right.
And that isn't convenient. I only do a 20-minute program. So I don't
Okay.
have a lot of time to go to fuss around like that.
Yeah. And Gillian, you know what? Let me go ahead and address that after class, if that's okay,
Okay,
with
fine.
you. Yeah. Monitor size. Let's go for that. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. Okay. Lots of great questions. Thank you. Let's talk about hosting a meeting. So there's different types of meetings, actually. I want to first start talking about what I call this immediate, you can start an immediate meeting. That's how Zoom calls it. you just text a friend and say, hey, you know what, it's been forever. Let's hop on a Zoom meeting in like 10 minutes. Or you're working with a colleague and you're on the phone and you're trying to explain something, how to do something on a computer program, a software program. And you're like, okay, you know what, let's hop on a Zoom call. I'm going to share my screen. Let me just show you how to do this using my PC. So those are these instant meetings. And I know everyone thinks I have to schedule a meeting in advance. No, you can just start a meeting right away, just like that. Invite one or more folks to your meeting, and then you're off to the races. So today, because I'm on my laptop, I've opened up a browser and I'm using the web version for Zoom. Some of you who are working on other devices, phones, smartphones, tablets, you will need to download the Zoom app. And you can also download the Zoom app on your PC if you wish. But to make it easier, I'm working on the browser version, because I can show you everything all in one place. So just know that's why I'm using it. It's up to you, which, app version, web version, your call. So I am going to just go to my account. I'm going to click on my account in the upper right-hand corner. And in this little navigation panel on the left, if I select meetings, this shows me my upcoming meetings, previous, and I want to talk a little bit about the personal room. So when you are starting a Zoom meeting, when you're starting up a meeting, you can start it in two ways. You can start a meeting using your personal meeting ID. And by the way, that means starting a meeting in your personal room. It's one and the same. Or you can start a meeting using a randomly generated ID. So what's the difference? When you sign up for your Zoom account, you will be assigned your own unique meeting ID, your own personal meeting ID. And this is my meeting ID right here. When you start a Zoom meeting in your personal room, what you're doing is you're starting a Zoom meeting using your personal meeting ID. And I would recommend only starting up these Zoom meetings using your personal meeting room with people that you know very well and that you trust. And that's because this meeting ID never changes. It is always the same. It's associated with your account. And you may see this join URL here that I'm highlighting. You could actually copy and send this to others, and that would be what they would use to join your meeting in your personal room. And I say that you should be careful with who you invite into Zoom meetings in your personal room, because if someone starts abusing that link, you're going to have to work with Zoom support to maybe get another meeting ID. So you just want to be careful who you share this with. And the great thing about starting a Zoom meeting in a personal room and then sharing, inviting others, sharing this link, is that you can start a Zoom meeting in your personal room at any time. And as long as someone has this link, you emailed it to them, you text it to them, they can use this link over and over again. So maybe you're with family and you're like, hey, you know what, let's get together every Friday afternoon at 4 just for a quick family hour. I'm going to send you the link. Every Friday at 4, you start up your Zoom meeting and your family members, they have this link, it never changes. They click on it and you're in your meeting like that. So that is your personal room. So when people say, oh, start a meeting in your personal room, now you know what they're talking about. And you'll notice, because I'm on the web version, I have everything on one screen here. I can copy the invitation. I'm clicking on the copy invitation button down here. And if I copy meeting, if I click on copy meeting invitation, what it's doing is it's copying all this information to something called the clipboard. For those of you who don't know what the clipboard is, I always describe it as this little area, temporary storage area in your device's memory. You can't get to it, only your device, your computer knows how to work with it. And it just stores information, for example, like this. And then what you could do is once you copy the meeting invitation, and you'll see it has information about, there's your link, if there are passcodes. I'm working on a paid account, so there are phone numbers associated with the meeting. On free accounts, you won't have this. And once you've copied your meeting invitation, you can then go to your email system application, create a new email, paste the contents of the clipboard into the body of your email, address it to different people, and then send it out. And that's as easy as it gets. You just send out the invitation. And then you click on start, and you're starting your Zoom meeting in your personal meeting room. You can just quick and dirty, just like that. Yes, Joanne, question.
That's where I really hit the problem is I copy the invitation and then I don't know how to find my email or what. I've got the copy. I'm so excited.
And what device are you on?
I'm on the Apple computer.
Apple computer. Okay, so when you have your Zoom meeting open, you can just keep it open, and then you can't see at the bottom. Let me see if I can make my screen a little bit larger? Yeah. What you can do is, I'm on a PC, not a Mac, but you can always, if you have your icons down at the bottom here on this little status bar,
Yeah.
you can then, if you have an email icon here where you can get to your whatever email system that you're working on, that's another way of doing this. You can just click on that icon. You haven't left your Zoom call, you just have access to another application. And it's a little different on the Mac, but that's the idea. You don't close out of this until you literally click on the close button. So you can, on your Mac, you can always be moving around. You can open up a different tab. I'm on my web browser. I can open up a different tab. I could then get to my email from there. So again, I know it's sort of like Mac 101, but yeah, great question.
Can a universal ID be used instead of using a personal room ID?
Well, universal ID. I'm not really sure what you mean by a universal ID, but if you're going to, RG, if you're going to start a meeting in your personal meeting room, it automatically uses this meeting ID. Now, this may answer your question. So let's talk about, what if you want to start one of these instant Zoom meetings and you don't want to start it in your personal room? And that's more about, the scenario where you're working with a colleague and you're having trouble describing to them over the phone how to do something on an application. And you say, let's just start a Zoom meeting. I'll share my screen and I'll show you how to do this. In that case, with someone you may not know as well or trust, you want to start a Zoom meeting using what we call one of these randomly generated IDs. And the difference is, with a randomly generated ID, is once your Zoom meeting ends, that meeting ID expires. It cannot be used again. And so that's why you want to share it with people that maybe you don't know as well. And I'm wondering, RG, if that's what you're talking about with a universal ID. Not really sure, but, and let me know if it's not. The way that you will start one of these instant meetings and with randomly generated ID is, if you're using the web version like I am today, you'll go up here and where it says host a meeting, this button over here in the upper right-hand corner, you will either select, start with my video on or off, or do I want to start in this screen share mode only? And I'm not going to do it today because I already have a Zoom meeting started, so I can't start another one. But when you start a meeting using one of these options under host a meeting, it is starting a Zoom meeting using a randomly generated ID. And again, once that Zoom meeting is over, that meeting ID expires and can't be used again. Yeah, Joanne.
Is host a meeting compared to schedule a meeting? Host a meeting means you're going to start it right now?
Typically, yes. Yeah, I would say you can always, if you're going to host a meeting, you're going to start it right now.
Okay.
Let's leave it at that. Yeah, exactly. And we're going to move next to schedule a meeting. That I would say is typically a meeting, not right this second, even if it's an hour from now or a month from now. And there are a number of different options that we're going to talk about that you can turn on and off. So yeah,
I have a question about accessing this.
Yes.
Yes, I'm using the version on my laptop, but when it comes on, there are icons that say schedule a meeting, host a meeting. No, it doesn't. It says schedule a meeting, says meetings, but there isn't one to get to. Yes, it's that picture.
It's that
But
one. That's right.
Yeah, but it doesn't have, you got to the account. See, I want to know, this is what I see when I open my Zoom.
Mhm.
But you got into the personal room, and I don't know how to do that from this picture.
All right.
From this,
This app, you're
App.
working on the app. Great question. What a great lead in. Thank you. I have a plant in the class. So this is what the app looks like, whether it's on your tablet, smartphone, or your PC, MacBook. And what you'll do here is to start one of these instant meetings. You can tap or click on New Meeting. And if you're on a PC, what you'll see next is you can actually click on the little down arrow button next to New Meeting. And if you wanted to start this meeting in your personal meeting room, you would select this checkbox. If you wanted to start a Zoom meeting using one of those randomly generated IDs, you would not select this checkbox. And that's just on the PC. Now, if you're
but you got that on New Meeting, right? You use the icon New Meeting.
Yes,
On
exactly. Yeah, if you're on a PC, and don't forget, you're going to click on this little down arrow button just next to the word meeting, and that's where this menu
Okay,
pops
good.
up.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, if you're on a smartphone or a tablet, you'll tap on start a new meeting icon. And what you'll see here is these are what they call, you'll actually turn on, swipe to the right. If you want to use a personal meeting ID, you'll just swipe right and this will enable it. And then you can tap on start a meeting, this little switch here. If you want to start a meeting using one of those randomly generated IDs, just leave it as is and then tap on start a meeting. And so that's the difference between using the browser version, which is what I'm using today because it's easier to show folks, versus using the app. So hopefully that's cleared that up a little bit because it's just a little different, but the concept is the same. All right, let's keep moving on. The next thing that I wanted to do was show you how you can schedule a meeting. Typically, you're going to schedule a Zoom meeting in the future, whether it's an hour in the future, 2 days from now, a month from now. And what you'll do is you're going to click on schedule a meeting. And once you've done that, it just takes my machine's thinking. There are a number of different fields, options that we can turn on and off. I'm not going to talk about every single one, but what I will do is as part of after class notes, which I'll be sending everyone, you'll get an email from me. I'm going to send an attachment that has a screenshot with a description of every single option and what it's used for. So we just don't have time to go over everything. And it's just, you're going to sit there, you're going to be brain dead after a couple of minutes. So let's start off. I've clicked on schedule a meeting. Let's give the meeting a topic. Today is Wednesday meeting. There we go. It is Wednesday. That's what I think. Description, provide a detailed description if you would like. The next thing that you need to do is set the date and the time for your meeting. So for the date, if you can see, there's this little calendar icon here. If I click on it, what it does is it enables me to use these microscopic little teeny arrows to scroll forward and backwards through the months of the year. You can select another date and then click done or tap done. So I'm just going to leave it for today. The time, we have a little drop down arrow here. You can select a time of the day. I'll leave it at 11 o'clock. AM or PM. Duration. So if you're working on a free account, I'm working off of a licensed account, a paid account today. You'll only be able to go up to 40 minutes. I know it says 45 minutes, but really you can only set it for 40 minutes. If you're working off of a paid account, again, you can have up to, depending upon the type of account, 30 hours for a call. I am going to set my duration for 1 hour and 30 minutes. And by the way, on a paid account, just because I set it for 1 hour and 30 minutes, we can go longer than that. This is just a suggestion. Time zone. This is important. Make sure as the host, you're setting your time zone. Zoom takes care of the time zones for other participants that you're going to invite. It knows how to do that. You just have to make sure that you're setting your time zone. I'm going to talk about recurring meeting in just a moment, but I want to talk about this meeting ID. So let's say I'm scheduling a Zoom call. I don't know, I have my book club meeting. And some of the folks I know, some of them may be new. And we typically meet once a month. Would you suggest I use my personal meeting ID for this meeting or use one of these generated automatically IDs? Anybody want to guess, make a guess?
I'd go with the automatically generated.
Yeah, go exactly. Because if this were family and friends, sure, personal meeting. Otherwise, if I don't know people all that well, I'm always going to use the generate automatically. Let's talk about security. So I'm sure many of you have heard about all the Zoom bombing that was going on last year. It was a bit of a mess, but since then, Zoom has added a lot of layers of security. So when you schedule a meeting, you are going to be required to use either a passcode or enable the waiting room. You can use both, either or, but you must select one. If you are working on a on a free Zoom account, you will automatically see that passcode is selected for you. You cannot turn this off. It's going to be grayed out for you. Zoom has decided that for free accounts, they're forcing you to use a passcode, which is fine, but just know that I can come in here and I can change this passcode to anything I wish. I can change it to, I don't know, today's day, Wednesday, something that'll be easy for folks to remember. So again, on a free account, passcode is selected for you. You cannot change it. Waiting room. You may decide you would, in addition to a passcode, you would like to enable a waiting room. What this will do is as folks click on the link that you send them, they will be placed into a waiting room and they'll see a screen that says, your meeting, please wait for the host to, let you into the meeting. And you'll know that you're not in the meeting yet, that there's a message telling you that the host will let you in shortly. As the host, what you will see is there are little messages that pop up on your screen that will say, Vicki has is entered the waiting room. And then you have the option to click on a red admit button, or you can actually chat with them. Maybe they've come in with and their name is a phone number. And you're like, I don't know who this is. You might want to chat with them and say, hi, can you give me your first and last name? I don't know who 1234 is. And then if they come back and say, oh, this is Ann Smith, you're like, oh, I know it's Ann. And you'll click on admit. And so that is an option. But if you're on a paid account, you must select one of these. You can't schedule a meeting without having one or the other. Let me know if you have any questions about passcodes or waiting room. Yeah, Hank, question. Oh, Hank, you just, there you go.
I was muted. Yes, I've gotten some invitations that have the passcode embedded in the invitation. How would we do that as a host?
That is a setting. And I'll send that as part of our after class notes. Embed password. I'll show you where that is in the settings, because that's what we do here at GetSetUp. you know that you never had to enter in a password or passcode. So great question. Thanks for that. All right, let's see, what else do I want to talk to you about? The video, and this is something to consider. So what these video options are for, it has to do with the state of your camera when you join a meeting. So as the host, when you start the meeting, you can automatically have your video, your camera turned on, or you can start the meeting with it turned off and then you turn on your camera. The same thing with participants. You can have them join the meeting with their cameras turned off, and then it's up to them to turn it on. If you think you're inviting folks who are not comfortable understanding how to turn their camera on and off, maybe they're not very technical, maybe you have young children if you're teaching, you might want to consider turning their cameras on by default. Just something to think about. Knowing your participants helps. This audio only pertains to paid accounts. If you're on a free account, you won't see this. But for those of you who might be working on paid account license accounts, this enables you to set this up so that your participants can dial into the audio portion of the Zoom meeting, either using their telephone, maybe they're driving and they're joining the call via a telephone, or you can say, no, you can only use your computer audio, or you give them the option to use both. Maybe some people are having problems with their computer audio and they need to dial in via their phone to get the audio portion. So just, again, this is only for paid accounts. Let's talk about
a free account and a co-host. Setting up
Vicki,
a co.
Sorry about that. I cut you
said
off.
in a free account. What about setting up a co-host?
You can do that. Yeah. If you're a host, you can assign someone to be a co-host. Sure. Even with a free account. Yeah.
Where?
That's actually for a different class. You actually do that while you're in the Zoom meeting. And you can go to their in the participant screen, you can actually select their name, and there's a click on the more button, there's a drop down list, and it'll say make co-host.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Great question. Meeting options. Let's talk about one or two of these. So allow participants to join at any time. If you select this, what it will do is it will allow your participants to join the meeting before you, the host, have joined. This may be a nice thing to do if you have folks who are joining in from different countries or areas where connectivity may be a little iffy, and you would like them to be able to test their connectivity and make sure they're good joining. They don't have any technical problems. So allow participants to join at any time. By default, mute participants upon entry are selected. I tend to keep this on because it's nice if you have a large group that's coming in. It can be really noisy if everyone has their mics enabled. So I tend to keep this selected. One other thing that I wanted to mention here, this automatically record meeting in the cloud. So when you have that selected, remember you can record your Zoom meeting. Now, if you are going to do this, you need to let people know so that they're being recorded. And because we record our sessions here, I like to keep automatically record meeting in the cloud selected, because then as you, the host, whenever you start your meeting, the recording automatically starts as well. There have been times where I needed to record a meeting. I didn't keep this selected, and halfway through the meeting, my Zoom meeting, I'm like, oh, I was supposed to be recording this. So just a nice to have. Now, once you're done going through all these options, turning them on and off, deciding what you want to have enabled or disabled, you're going to click on the save button. And what that has done is it has saved your meeting. Here's my Wednesday meeting with all the information, but I haven't invited anyone to my meeting. Just because you schedule a meeting using this Zoom setup, it doesn't automatically invite participants. I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Instead, what you'll need to do is click on the copy invitation button. And again, I'm using the browser version. It brings up this screen. We'll click on copy meeting invitation. Everything is copied to the clipboard. And then what I'll need to do is go to my email application, compose a brand new email, paste the contents into the body of my email, address it to one or more participants, and send it off. And so, yeah, Joanne, question. Joanne's like, I'm gonna get my questions in.
So when you copy it,
Mhm.
do I hit cancel or does that cancel my copy? 'Cause
No,
you
once you
did it.
click on copy meeting invitation,
Yes.
it's copied to the clipboard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to bring up, I use something called Notepad. It's a little, just a little text editor. If I come here and I click on edit, you'll see there's paste.
Yes.
Also, on a PC, the keyboard shortcuts are Control V. On a Mac, it's Command V. So if I paste it, this is exactly what you would be doing into the body of your email. It would look just like this.
Okay.
You could do Control V, it would paste it. On a Mac, you'll do Command V. That's probably the easiest way to do it.
I have a question from the other screen, which is if you allow participants to come in anytime and you're on a free account, does that begin not recording, but is the time clock on from the time the first person comes in?
I love that question. Thank you for asking. So I've done a lot of research on this because people always ask me.
Right.
Once you have 3 participants that have joined the meeting, not counting yourself, once there are 3 participants that have joined the meeting, that starts the clock.
Oh,
Thank you.
good to know.
Yes, it is, if you're going to use that. Great question. Peach,
I
did you
have
have
a
a question?
question.
Yeah.
Yes. So that means, and I'm sorry, because I'm really not technical, so I'm really somewhat lost about the copy and pasting. But so therefore, I would need everyone's email in order to copy and paste for the meeting.
Yeah, you would need, so when you're addressing, when you're composing that email message in the to field, you would need to type out their email messages separately, in addition to copying the invitation and then
Okay.
pasting it.
Is that the only way? Because I know when my brother did a Zoom meeting, he didn't have our email address.
Did he text it to you?
I mean, I think he gave us a link.
Right, he had to send it somehow. He needed to either email it to you or text it to you, maybe?
I can't remember. It's been so long ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Question, yeah, more questions. Oh, you're muted. Oh, you're still muted. There you
Okay.
go.
I'm offering what works for me. I think this is what I do. Once I've copied the invitation and I go into the email that I compose and the list of people that I'm going to invite up there, I right click with my cursor in the content, I right click and the paste option comes up and it pastes the invitation right there into the email.
Exactly. So let me click
Okay.
on you here. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm on a mouse. I'm working with my mouse. If I right click, it brings up this menu. One of the options is paste, and you can do that in your body of the email that you're composing. Perfect. And it will allow you to paste. Again, I right click with my, I'm using a mouse. If you're using a touchpad, you'll need to use a different technique, but then you can always paste it right there. Yeah, thanks so much for that tip. I appreciate it. Joel, question.
Are you going to mention what's a meeting template? Because if I do a movement class, or if I just have a meeting, then they might be different than I saw about meeting template, but I don't know.
Yes, I'm going to do that next. Thanks for the lead in. I appreciate
I have a
it.
question about how do I add Gmail to the, so I can copy the invitation, or how do I add my Gmail account?
Okay, I'm going to get to that in a minute, Yellen, and I think it might answer your question.
Good.
If it doesn't, let me know.
All right,
So
thank you.
one of the things, so we've scheduled our meeting. We've talked about copying the invitation. I want to show you a few other things you can do when you're scheduling a meeting. I'm going to click edit here, and it's just going to allow me to edit my meeting. One thing that I hadn't talked about before is this option to set up a recurring meeting or a repeating meeting. So let's just say I'm scheduling a meeting with a client. I have a career coaching, I'm a life coach, and I'm going to meet with this client once a week. I can set it up so that we're going to meet daily, weekly, monthly. So I'm going to set it up. We're going to meet once a week. And again, how often? Once a week, twice a week. These are as many times as you wish per week. When is this meeting going to occur? I'm going to leave it on Wednesdays. You can select any day of the week. And then once you set up a recurring meeting, you also need to set up an end date. So you can use this calendar feature here. This calendar icon, click on it. Again, you can use these teeny little arrows to scroll back and forth through the months of the year. And you can say, on September 24th, that finishes our work together. You can select a date, or you can say after X amount of occurrences, you can go up to 20 occurrences. We're going to meet 5 times every Wednesday per week, and then these meetings are done. And so that's a repeating, that's how you can set up one of these recurring or repeating meetings, just by clicking on selecting this recurring meeting checkbox. Now, there was a question about templates. Let me just save this for a moment. It's going to save my meeting. Save as a template. So let's just say I have different types of clients, and this is an external client. We're meeting once a week. I've set up my meeting with everything that I would like to have. I've turned this on, I've deselected that. I might want to save this as a template, and then I can give it a name. And then when I save it as a template, when I'm scheduling additional meetings with other clients and I want to use this same setup, I can simply, when I click on schedule a meeting, it gives me an option to select use a template. And then I would have a drop down. There's my Wednesday template. And boom, it sets everything up for you. You don't have to spend time going through everything, turning it on and off. Joel, did that answer your question? Okay, yeah. And you'll just do, when you're when you're scheduling your meeting, you'll select save as template. Okay. And the
Thursday, what if one is Wednesday and the other is Thursday?
Well, what you can do is when you schedule a meeting and use a template, you will always have the option to change the date.
Okay.
So template just makes it easier for you.
The other information.
Yes, exactly. You can always edit whatever you need to. Yep. Oh yeah.
Were you going to say something about editing? Or did you say it and I missed it?
Oh, yeah. I'm on the web version, the browser version. And whenever you have a meeting, so if I click on meetings on my left navigation panel here, it always shows me my upcoming meetings. Here's that Wednesday meeting. I can either start it right now, I can delete it, or if I click on edit, I'll just edit all occurrences. I've set this up as a repeated meeting.
Okay.
And then it goes back to my my edit? Here we go, right there. Yep, great question. I'm going to click on save. The last thing that I want to show you, well, there are a couple more things, but we've been going through a lot, I know. One more thing that I wanted to talk about was how do you use this calendaring feature? And for some of you, this might make inviting or copying the invitation and inviting others a little bit easier, which is why I take time to walk you through it. So you'll notice here, I have the option to use a Google Calendar, Outlook Calendar, or Yahoo Calendar. That's because I'm on a PC. If you're on a MacBook, you will see iCalendar, Max Calendar available to you. If you're on a tablet or iPad or smartphone, you'll have other options as well. But let me just show you what you can do. So maybe someone's asked you to schedule a meeting and can you put it on the calendar? Well, I have the option of these three. I'm going to click on Google Calendar. I use Google Calendar. So let me click on the Google Calendar. And what this is doing is it's allowing you to put this meeting onto your calendar. And I have a number of different Google accounts here. I'm going to allow Zoom access to my calendar. Last thing I need to do. And what's great about using the calendar feature is that you can do a number of things all in one screen. So here's my Wednesday meeting. This is the date, the time. And let me show you what you can do on this screen. So you can set up notifications. You can edit the invitation itself. You can add information, remove information, and you can add participants or guests, as they call it, simply by typing out their email addresses. So no need to copy and paste. You can do it all from this screen. So this notification, I think this is really great. So by default, what Zoom does is it adds a notification. I'm going to try and make this a little bit larger so folks can see it. 30 minutes before your Zoom meeting starts. Now, if I click on this add notification button, it allows me to add additional notifications. Maybe I want to send folks an email. Let's just say that I've scheduled this a month in advance. Maybe I want to send an email 5 days before, just reminding folks. Maybe I want to send another one of these notifications. I don't know, maybe an hour, a couple of hours before. So you can start adding notifications, and the notifications are these little pop-ups that will say, your meeting is scheduled to begin, your Wednesday meeting in 30 minutes. It's just a nice reminder. And if you're going to be scheduling meetings a few days in advance, a few weeks in advance, I would recommend adding notifications. Again, I mentioned that here's the invitation. And you can just, please plan on, you can add anything you wish to the invite, the text of the invite. Really nice. Yeah.
Question. For the notification that goes to the entire participant list?
Yes. So in addition to yourself, anybody that you're going to invite. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're sending, okay, I understand the notification, but if I want to send my Zoom link, do I have to send all that information on the Zoom link? I just want to send them the link that they're coming in on, like my main, my meeting ID and my password. Can I only just send that and they will get through? They would get in on, or they need all this information to go to them?
They need the link.
Which would be the link would be this link, and then the meeting ID and the passcode. Could that work?
They would just need the passcode here because the meeting ID is embedded in the link.
Okay, so I could just send the meeting ID, that information in the
Passcode.
in the passcode?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Great question. Yeah, all great questions. All right. So in addition to specifying additional information in your invite, in the actual invitation, you can start adding guests. So I'm just going to start typing out people's email addresses. There's one guest. I'm just going to keep adding email addresses. So I have some of these crazy email addresses. And again, it's so much easier than having to figure out, copy the invitation to the clipboard, get into your email, paste it. Here, all you're doing is it's the same screen. Everything is pasted for you. You just start specifying email addresses here, and you're inviting people. The last thing you can do is you're going to click on save, not can do, but you want to click on save. I'm going to just save this event. It's my test event anyway. I'm going to say, yes, I would like to send emails to my guests. Please do that. And what's happened is it sent emails to those people that I've specified, to those email addresses. It's put my Wednesday meeting on my calendar. Now, when your participants receive those emails, if they can select, yes, I'm attending, maybe, or no. If they plan on attending, then they'll get another option. Would you like to save this meeting to your calendar? It's their choice. If they say yes, it will add it to whichever calendar they use. They don't have to be using Google. They can be using a different calendar. Zoom is smart enough to know that. And then when it comes time to start their meeting, they can go to their calendar, they can open it, and then they can click on join a Zoom meeting. And even you as the host, you can use this join Zoom meeting link. It knows that you're the host and you'll be actually starting the meeting. And so that is why I wanted to show folks, how do you use this calendar feature? And it will look a little different depending upon the type of device you're on. If you're on a MacBook versus a PC, but it really, they all work the same. The idea is the same. You click on Google Calendar or Outlook or Yahoo or iCalendar. It brings you to that screen where you can add notifications. You can modify the contents of the invitation, and then you can start adding participants' emails and send it off. So this is all available to you when you click on schedule a meeting. I know it's a lot. People are like, oh, yeah, yeah. The other thing that I wanted to show you, let me go back to my, my slides. For those of you who are going to be working on the app, maybe you're on a smartphone, maybe you're on a tablet or even a PC or MacBook, what you'll do is on your app, you'll tap on or click on schedule, the schedule icon. This will open up your schedule meeting and you'll have access to all the different options we just talked about. The advanced options hold some a few additional options for you. You'll, again, real estate is limited, so you'll just click on advanced options and it will just have a few more fields for you to enable, disable, whatever you would like. And so I wanted to show folks, this is what it looks like when you're using the app, the Zoom app. Anybody have any questions about that? I know I've been going through a lot. All right. Let's see, that's the calendaring feature. We're actually, we're just past the hour. This goes by so fast. We have so many great questions. So remember, you can start one of these, what I call instant Zoom meetings, whether you're on the app, you're going to use your browser version. You decide if you're going to use your personal meeting or one of these randomly generating IDs, personal room versus randomly generated ID. You can use that schedule a meeting option to schedule your Zoom meeting an hour from today, a week, a month from today. You can also have scheduled meetings that are recurring, or they can just be one-time events. And we haven't talked about screen share, but you also can, as a host, you can share your screen. And there are other classes that will take you through that. Anybody? Yeah, question.
There's another, you said there's another class for screen sharing.
Yes, let me go ahead. I've gone to my GetSetUp.io website here. And where it says search guides and classes, if I click in there, I'm going to type out Zoom. And it brings a listing, a drop-down list of all the different Zoom classes we offer. Let me just press my Enter key so it will display it on the screen. We have Zoom tips and tricks, and that goes through setting, using polls, breakout rooms, customizing your background. What else do we have? We have, whoops, this is what happens when you go back. We have Zoom backgrounds for beginners, advanced Zoom for hosts that talks about breakout rooms using polls as well. How to look like a superstar. This talks about setting up your lighting, creating custom virtual backgrounds, Zoom host practice sessions. This might be a good one for folks as well. You can practice using different features. I think Donna teaches this one. This might be a nice class for you to take. So, you know, I would recommend going to GetSetUp, searching on Zoom for where, you know, just as if I've shown you, and then see what other classes we offer, because there's a lot and we're adding more each day. And by the way, that brings me to something else I wanted to mention. If there are classes that, so I'm going to just close class here. Let me stop sharing my screen. And if anyone has additional questions, I'll be on for a couple more minutes. Otherwise, I wanted to thank everyone for joining me. I apologize for running a little late. We have a lot of great questions. I want to make sure they get answered. And I hope to see you at other classes. Remember, you can take this class as many times as you wish. I know I threw a lot of stuff out there at you. It can be a little daunting at first. You know, you can always get a recording, a copy of the recording of today's session, take the class again, and take a look at some of the other Zoom classes we offer, because you get a chance to practice. So go for it. And good luck for those of you who are hosting your Zoom classes, your first Zoom meetings. I hope you feel a little bit more confident.
Now, I would like to go back to my initial question, which was about copying, please, in a free account, copying the participants. And you asked about what the purpose was.
Yes.
I just want to, because I've done 40 classes, I need to track who comes and who doesn't so I can follow up. It's really for my personal, in other words, and I've made an attempt, a Word document of, well, I guess it's an Excel document of attendees. And I want to be able to check off who's, yeah. So rather than have my co-host do it manually, we're trying to figure out how we can just copy the list off the participant. I don't know how to do that.
Actually, you'll go into the reporting. So in your Zoom account, I'll provide instructions on how to do that. There's a reporting option that you can do this on. So I'm just going to share.
But I didn't see reporting because I've been looking it up.
No, what you'll need to do is, let me show you.
Okay, thank you so much.
On my, let me go into my Zoom.
No, so I should go from Google, I should go into the browser, into Zoom.
Zoom.us.
Yeah.
You'll log on to your account, your Zoom account.
Right.
And then down here on the left-hand side, where I'm clicking on reports on my navigation panel.
All right, thank you.
When I click on reports, there's also something called usage. where you can view meetings, participants, and meeting minutes. And if I click on usage, what it will do is it will start listing all the different meetings that have been, you won't see mine, this one, because I haven't ended
Right.
it yet. But what you can do is where it says participants here, you can click on participants and it
Oh,
will
look at
show
that.
you.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Now, can you
And then
copy
you can
that?
export it. You can export it and you
Okay.
can save it to a file.
Beautiful. You just, you know, that was a labor of love. Thank you. I
Okay.
really appreciate that. We've been trying to figure out how to do it.
And I'll include those instructions and in our after class notes.
Okay. And thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, you
Any
said
other?
we can see this, we can go back to a recording of this session. Okay,
Yes.
where would I go? I came in late. I came in late because I had something else, and I said, oh, I forgot that class. And but where can I go back for the recording?
I am putting it in the chat right now. It's help@getsetup.io. And just email them and say, hi, I would like a copy of the recording for this. You can give them the title of the class
Okay.
and today's date, and they'll send it off to you.
Okay.
All righty.
Thank you.
You're so
Thank you so much.
welcome. I know it's a little overwhelming, but thanks for hanging in there. Lots of great questions. I really appreciate it.
Very helpful.
All right.
But thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone. Have a
All
great
right.
rest of your day.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
Bye-bye.